welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And today on the show, we're going to show you something that we've been promising for a long, long time. Because way back in the day, episode 4, we said we're going to show you how to build a PC.
Yes.
And a few weeks ago we did. We started that process.
We started the process. We picked out some parts.
Ironically, you know, we're showing how to build a PC just as PC sales are down. So, you know, hey.
People still want to build PCs. This might be the only way you can get a PC in the near future.
It could be, yeah,
build your own.
Build your own, that's true. Good. So before we showed you the pieces you needed, and then now we're going to show them actually how to put the pieces together.
Yes. We're going to show you how to build it. Now I'm going to tell you, we already pre-built this one.
Yeah. Because
building it live in 22 minutes ain't going to happen. So we're going to show you how we took the parts that we had before and turned them into this.
Wow, that's exciting.
So, are you up for this?
No, I want to build an apple. No, I'm just lying. But you know, playing the little switcheroo game with you.
He's like, everything is topsy-turvy.
I know. Okay, good.
Windows is awesome.
Today on Lab Rats, we're going to show you how to build a small apartment in New York. So stay with us, and we'll be right back after this. Well, welcome back to Lab Rats. So before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about our favorite people over at Hover.com, one of the key sponsors of the show. You know, Hover.com has this sort of no-wait customer service policy, right? You call them, they pick up the phone. But it occurred to me
that's the way it's supposed to be.
That is the way it's supposed to be, right? It occurred to me the other day, though, now you have to talk to a Canadian if you're going to call Hover, because the call center is here in Toronto. So they have a funny Canadian accent, and they say a lot. Like, what's wrong with your domain, eh? Or, you know, getoutnaboot.com.
I don't understand a word you're saying.
That's right. So it's a foreign dialect.
Very good.
Hover.com, zip on over there. We're going to give you a 10% off coupon, Lab Rats right here to use so you can get started and save some money too. All right, let's move on. So we're going to build a PC.
We are going to build the PC.
Now you prepared some video for us, so you're going to walk us through the various parts and that sort of thing. So I guess we start with a case, and then where do we go from there?
Well, we're going to start actually with the motherboard and the CPU first. So those are the bedrock, and we're going to put those together before we put them in the case. So first of all, we picked out our motherboard and CPU here. We're going with the Intel, the i7 processor, and the motherboard, which has a little bit of multimedia on it. So obviously we take it out of the box, take it out of the sleeve. First thing, you're going to open up the place for the CPU and remove the little protector. Got two tabs here to keep the CPU aligned properly, and you see those two slots on the CPU itself. Put it in so you align those things up, otherwise you might break it. Close up the socket again and fix the arm down. Got a little bit of thermal paste on the bottom of your heat fan and a couple of spots here where you can put your heat fan in. You line those up and then push them down into place, like so. You do all four of them, get a snug fit. And on the bottom of the motherboard, then you'll see that they've come through and that they have made a connection all the way through. That'll be good. Next thing you need to do is you need to plug in your cooling fan so that it actually gets power, otherwise you're going to blow that CPU. And you do that in the place that says CPU fan on the board. So that's the first step of the process. I got it.
Now, if they buy different types of motherboards, different processors, they're going to have a different routine?
Right. So, I mean, we showed the Intel LGA 1156 CPU and socket there. If you get one of the older Core 2s, it may have a different pin configuration. AMD will have a different pin configuration. The fan might differ from motherboard to motherboard based on what kind of CPU it is. But it'll basically be that sort of process. You'll have various ways to attach the fan to the motherboard and ways to fix that CPU right into the board.
Okay. But for the most part, it's similar.
It's similar. I mean, we're showing off, obviously, in this one, what we did with the parts that we got in our previous episode.
Okay, good. All right, now I guess now you have the two key components together.
Yes.
Now the case comes in.
Now we get the case. So let's have a look at that. We picked out this big case earlier, so we got to put the motherboard in. Okay. So there is the case itself that we chose, an Ultra case. So and there's the motherboard all put together that we're going to put in. So first thing, you take the screw off the back and slide off the side panel. There's a bunch of stuff in at the top. You'll remove all of that. You'll see on the back plate here, there's a bunch of sockets or holes here where you put your screws. That keeps the motherboard away from the back panel. These are the screws you're going to attach. And each of the holes on the motherboard will take one of those screws. So you want to make sure that you put those screws in the proper places to line up with your motherboard. The back plate there is what holds the motherboard and keeps the dust out, so you'll take that from your motherboard package and put it in the back and then line it up against the motherboard. So the motherboard goes into that back plate and aligns with the holes, that the screw holes. So you just screw it in all together in all of the places that you have. Make sure that you don't cinch it down too hard or you might break the board. Now you've got the switches here. So your power switch, reset switch, they all have these little leads that you attach. And you just plug each of those in one by one. They're color-coded. You've got ones for the USB and the FireWire. And those will be linked on the board as well. And then you've got other cooling fans that you might have on the case itself. So you'll attach those all into the right place. Now we're skimming through this fairly quickly here. And we did do a series called How Do I Build a PC? Mm-hmm. And you can see all of this in greater detail. I mean, we're just giving you the broad overview and the various steps. But for much more thorough explanation, you can go to see that series.
Okay, good. So this is more of a summary, a quick walkthrough, kind of all in 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah, otherwise we would not do this in the 15 minutes that Matt allows us to have.
I got it. Okay, good. So I'm gathering that the next part is to power all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of cables you're plugging in there, but I guess there's no source yet.
Right. So all of these have a power supply. So we've got a power supply picked out here. This again from Ultra, and we need to connect these leads here up to the board. That's how you get your power. So you've got ones for hard drives and older components, ones for your video cards right here, and ones for your hard drives. So there's the spot on the back of your case at the top where that goes in. You slide it into place. Make sure that the fan in it is pointing down into the system, otherwise it'll hit the top of the case, and then screw it into place. Now you've got the connectors here for your power. You plug it into the back of the power supply if it needs to be, and then plug it into the case, or onto the motherboard in those two different places. Now a lot of the power supplies that you have these days, sometimes there's a great big bundle of wires. Actually, we showed one that had no wires attached to it. We've got ones that have a whole pile of wires pre-attached to it, so then in that case you just put that whole thing in and then pull out the appropriate ones to connect to the board. So,
okay, got it.
So there you go. So now we've got the power connected to at least the motherboard, and the rest of the power that we're going to put onto the other components that we put in, we'll show you how to do that.
Do we test it at this point, or do we?
There's nothing to test yet at this point. I mean, you could theoretically power it up and see if it fires up, but I mean, you need to add in your RAM and your hard drive and all that, otherwise the system will complain.
Yes, it looks fairly finicky, too, in terms of getting your hands in there. I mean, is that difficult to do?
Well, you want to be sure when you're picking out a case, again, that you have enough room to move around, make sure there's not big metal obstacles getting in the way of everything you want to do in there. So be very careful. Put it on a good open surface and make sure that you don't put zaps into it with static electricity. So ground yourself first before you do this as well.
I got it. Okay, good.
Right.
Next component sounds to me like it's going to be either RAM or hard drives.
Let's go for the RAM first. Okay. So the RAM is one of the easiest steps. You pick out your RAM. In this case, we've got Kingston and Corsair RAM to choose from. We're going to put in the Kingston RAM in this case. So you've got sockets here on the board, and you've got white tabs on the end of each of these things. And this is the things that lock the RAM into place. So you're going to push them down to open them up. Take that notch on the RAM itself and line it up with the little tab on the board itself. Otherwise, it won't go in or you might break something. So you line it up and then push it down, and then the tabs on either end will lock in place. Now we've got dual channel RAM on this. So you see we've got 2 blues and 2 black sockets here. You should probably do it in twos, in pairs this time around, and make sure that you choose black and black or blue and blue. That way you're utilizing dual channel, which speeds things up substantially. You can run it the other way, it just won't be as fast.
Now, is RAM really expensive these days?
RAM is not terribly expensive. You can get like 8 gigabytes of RAM for 150 or less, depending on how high quality and what type of RAM it is. So we've used DDR3 in this case.
And you're recommending Kingston or Corsair?
Corsair and Kingston do good RAM. Crucial does good RAM as well. So there's a lot of good RAM out there. Those are the ones I'm most familiar with and the ones that I like.
Good. Next then, if it's not RAM, so we've done RAM, so is it storage next?
Let's do the storage.
Okay.
So we're using a mechanical hard drive in this case. You can use a solid state drive if you really, really want to go upscale.
If you have some money.
If you have some money. Yeah. But we've chosen a mechanical hard drive because we want a lot of capacity. This is 1.5 terabytes using serial ATA. So it's fast and it's big. Those are the connectors on there. We've got the serial ATA connection on the left and the power on the right. So I'm going to slide it into one of the drive bays like so. Line up the screw holes with the slot on the case, and then screw it into place. Now you generally only do it on one side. Now you take the power and plug it into your power supply, and then plug it into the back of the drive like that. Then you've got your serial A connectors, one on the board and one on the back of the hard drive. And that's pretty much it. That was really quick to get the drive into place.
Right, and that's all powered now and connected in terms of the data transfer.
Right.
So what's with the big deal with the little skull there?
What the little skull is just some gaming thing that Intel put directly onto the board, and it lights up as well.
It lights up too.
It lights up. The
I'll
eyes
show you how to
do.
light up the skull a little bit later, perhaps, or we may have to do the whole series to see it light
Maybe.
up. DVDs and Blu-ray still an option these days?
Yeah, you can do that. I think probably if you're going to go for a desktop computer, you probably will want some sort of storage, whether it's a DVD or a Blu-ray. We chose a Blu-ray, in this case a Blu-ray writer, so we can burn up to 50 gigabytes of data at a time.
Nice.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Again, same process as the hard drive. We've selected our Blu-ray drive here from LG. There's the panel on the top that you can generally just push out, and then there's ones below it often that have a metal guard in there that you have to pull out. Then you just slide the drive into place, like so. Line up the screw holes on the side with the slot, screw it in. Again, those were the connectors. Got the serial ATA and the power, so we're going to connect the power up first to the power supply and then to that. And then again, same process with the hard drive. We connect the serial ATA cable to the motherboard and then to the back of the drive. And that's pretty much done.
Very cool. Okay, good.
So,
the other component, I guess, is a graphics card. Now, ATI versus NVIDIA, is that still a head-to-head battle?
yeah, there's still pretty much a head-to-head battle on them. They tend to leapfrog each other in terms of performance, and they each have different methods of connecting more than one card to each other to harness extra power for the ultra gamers. We've just chosen to go with one card in this case because we just want graphics that are reasonably good for gaming, but we don't need to have a case that will allow me to frag Paul in like 3 trillionths of a microsecond. So we're not going to do that.
I got it.
But
okay.
we're going to put the card in.
So let's have a
here.
look.
So we've chosen an ATA Radeon, one of the new versions. We're going to put it into one of these slots here. We've got PCI Express slots. You can tell what speed they are by the markings on the board here. We've got 1 times at the bottom and 16 times at the top. 16 times is the one we want because it's nice and fast and a lot of data transfer. Notice also it's got a little secure tab on this one here, which allows us to keep the card securely in place. So first thing, clear up a spot on the back of your case by removing the metal brackets. Align it the card with that spot you've cleared up and with the slot on the motherboard. Ease it into place and push until that little tab there is ready to engage. Now you're going to need to power it. These new ones have 2 power connectors here. The older ones had none at all. These ones have 2. Plug that into the card and into the back of your power supply, or again, if you have the power supply with all the connectors on there, just find the ones you need and connect them, and then screw it back into place. Now you can get your monitor connected to it from the back of your computer. So.
Yeah, it looks like a mini laptop. It's
yeah,
a big honking thing compared to what it used to be.
Well, the funny thing is a lot of these graphics cards now have more processing power than the CPU and the motherboard because they're calculating so much stuff, especially for gamers. Like, we went a little bit overboard with this one because we want to play games and we want to play really good games. But you can get by with a much lower priced card and something that doesn't look the size of a car if you want to just surf the web and do your email and that sort of thing.
I got it, good. So with video, I guess, comes audio.
With audio, you probably want to have reasonably good audio as well if you're going to be gaming. Now,
wouldn't that be built in?
There is built-in audio in a lot of cases. We see this, it's built into the motherboard here. You can see these various colors, so you can connect your speakers directly to that. But if you want something better, you want a card like our Sound Blaster here. So you'll look for a slot in there. That was the old PCI. The new ones use the PCI Express cards, the 1 times. So we'll locate a spot on there. Again, remove the metal bracket off the back. These are the connectors that will stick out through the back, so make sure those align through the back of the case properly. And again, that the interface aligns with the motherboard. Push it in, and then reconnect the screw that was connecting the bracket to secure that in place. Because this is important for both the video card and the audio card, because when you're connecting things from the back, you don't want them wobbling around and de-seating, because that can cause your computer to crash. So you want to be absolutely sure everything is secured right down.
Very cool.
There you go.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. So,
and then you just push the button, say fire it up?
well, not 100%. You've got a few things you're going to need to do. So the one thing that we haven't done yet, so on that, I'll bring this case back up here, is just put this back on. So this, just set this to the side while you're doing that. Line it back up again. Usually has little slots like so. Slide it back into place, and then screw down the back panel as well, again with the thumb screws or the regular screws, and then you're good to go. Then you get your power cable, plug it in, and then you're ready to go. Now you can start installing Windows. That's probably one of the reasons you still want that, that optical drive on this thing.
You got it. Terrific.
So, there we go. We've built a PC. It's up to you now to put Windows on it and put all your games and whatnot on it, and get all the other stuff you need, like monitor, mouse, whatever.
Very good. Good work. Great segment.
Yeah, so there you go. We built it.
There you go. We did.
5 years in the making.
Yeah, that's exactly it. All right, well, let's take a break. When we come back, we've got your pictures as well as a clip of the week, and it's a fun one for you PC builders. Stay with us. I discovered that it works really well. Look, watch. Come on.
You've forgotten everything there is to know about PCs since you got a Mac, right?
That's true. Mac, yeah, I like the Mac. Mac just does everything for me now. Anyway, I just thought it was fun. What's in here? Games for Windows.
Games for Windows.
Fallout, not New Vegas. New Vegas. I don't know. I don't get it. All right, so let's for those of you who like the long version of things, Sean has been very considerate and has actually built out an episode of one of our new shows. Actually, not an episode, a series called How Do I Build a PC? So Kenneth actually stole little bits of the video from that series here for this episode. But if you're really keen on taking this step by step and having Sean's beautiful monotone voice walk you through the mundane things about plugging in RAM, then you should rush on over to butterscotch.com and watch it.
What do you mean by that?
See, isn't he gorgeous? So how do I build a PC, right?
Yes.
At butterscotch.com, let's take a look at episode number 10.
Number 10, finishing touches. So some of the things that we didn't cover here.
So we'll show you 30 seconds of that, and then after that, we'll get to picture time.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
Don't forget, before you can make this work, you're going to need to plug it in. So we've got the power cable that came with the power supply. We're going to plug it in, and then we're going to plug it into the wall, like so. Now it should be ready to go and fire up. After that, of course, the first thing you're going to need to do before it'll do anything at all is install an operating system on it. We've got a copy of Windows 7 here. You can use Linux, one of the new distributions of that. And then after that's on there, you're ready to start using it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to see the whole episode and all 10 parts of that series, go on over to butterscotch.com. Check out How Do I Build a PC?
Do it.
By Mr. Sean Carruthers. Nice work.
Thank you, sir.
Really good. All right, now it's time for us to talk a little bit about picture time.
Yes.
So how many pictures do we have this week?
None.
We have none?
We have none.
Why none?
People haven't been sending in their pictures.
Oh, lazy people. Lazy people. Well, I have one. I have a fun one for you.
All right.
Can I step in here? Because
yeah, I guess.
this is...
Is it a good one?
It's a great one.
Okay.
Let me just see if I'm trying to find the right one for it. So recently I went over to my sister's. My sister has a couple of kids, and this is a picture of my niece. Just get it so it goes up the right way.
Do you know how to use that?
Can you see that? That's Asia, and she's dressed as a butterfly, I think, or a moth or something like that. And actually, she's doing her best Andy Walker impression. Her Uncle Andy. Can you see that? Aww. Isn't that cute? She's such a cutie. So, yeah, that's my contribution to picture time, because people are too lazy to email us.
I have a Halloween picture as well.
You do?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, it's kind of seasonal anyways. So we had a bunch of little gourds, like decorative gourds around the house, and one of them was calling out for a bit of costume as well. So I gave it a bit of a costume.
It looks slightly like my niece.
Really? I don't know.
Well, it's happy like my niece.
It looks happy, yes.
There you go. Very good. That's. Oh, you have one too?
Matt has one too.
Matt has one too.
All right, so Matt's, it's right here. This is the pumpkin carving contest at Matt's house, which Matt apparently lost.
Shut up!
He did not win.
Matt lost.
Kate from Sexy Tech won.
There you go. Seasonal photos for everyone.
There we go. All right.
Some more winning than others.
If you'd like to send your picture into us at Picture Time, if you show it off, maybe it's you in your costume, or your cat in a costume, or perhaps it's your pumpkin with your cat. I don't know. You can email it to.
Send us your pictures, please. Our barrel is empty. At labrats.tv.
Or more simply.
Feedback at labrats.tv if
Maybe
you don't like the way we beg.
Maybe it's your email addresses are too long and they just can't. They keep misspelling and getting a bounce message.
We always give them the other one.
I know. All right.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for pushing play this week and coming to see us. You know, we love it. It would be foolish for us to be here explaining how to build a PC if you weren't out there going, does the RAM go here or there? My name's Andy Walker.
Goes there. I'm Sean Carruthers.
And we'll see you next time.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
You want to see the skull light up?
Yes, I do. Oh my God.
Okay, and we have no...
Can we make a Bruins logo light up?
We have no photos, by the way, for any of these three.
Oh, okay. So
There's no picture time.
I think I'm going to be sad. Can I draw something?